Welcome, everyone. It's so great to be with you this afternoon. I am Lindsay Jousma. I currently serve as our Director of Program Operations here at Gilda's Club, Grand Rapids. We're so glad to have you joining us in our virtual clubhouse. We're so grateful that we can come together through this platform during this time. We hope that all of you are well and finding ways to stay connected. And we're glad to connect with you today. Please let us know you're here and watching by liking or commenting on this post at any time. Gilda's Club Grand Rapids is a free cancer and grief support program. All of our activities are on our virtual clubhouse at this time, and we welcome new members at any point. So anyone who's interested in connecting with Gilda's Club for free cancer or grief support, please reach out to Gilda's Club. We would be more than happy to connect with you, to talk with you, and to help plug you into this wonderful social and emotional support that's taking place right here in our community. So with that, I'd love to introduce to you today. We have a very special guest with us here on our Facebook Live platform, Stephanie Hexel. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, thank you for being here, Stephanie. We're so glad to have you today.
Thank you.
Stephanie is a licensed master level social worker. She is the Access Manager of Care Management Services at Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan. So Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan, we'll learn so much about today with Stephanie. And they work with older adults and adults with disabilities, as well as their support persons, to help individuals live as independently as possible in the community. A variety of services right here in our community. And Stephanie, as a licensed social worker, has served as the Access Manager for nearly 2 years. Prior to this, she was an outreach specialist for 6 years. Stephanie has worked in long-term care settings as well as with grief and cancer support groups. Stephanie has a passion for working with older adults and for those who are in caregiving situations and informing others about the many resources that are available to help with every unique situation. And Stephanie is also one of our contract staff here at Gilda's Club Grand Rapids. And we're absolutely delighted to have you here today with us, Stephanie, to share a little bit about this wonderful resource that's here in our community and some really great information that our members who are on a cancer and a grief journey that would be really helpful to be aware of. So without further ado, welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can start, I'll first just introduce you to Area Agency on Aging and what we are all about. But as you said, Lindsay, we are really the source for seniors. We're here for older adults and adults with disabilities to live as independently as possible in the community. And there are a number of services that we provide directly from our agency that range from in-home care programs to supports for caregivers, resources that would directly support somebody in that caregiving situation. We offer different wellness classes, educational classes. We have a program called MAP, Michigan Medicare Medicaid Assistance Program, that works with Medicare and Medicaid questions. And a lot of what we do beyond the direct services we provide is what we consider information and assistance. I know when I just first started here a moment ago, I said we're the source for seniors, and we really do strive to be that go-to agency in the area. There are a number of agencies that we partner with that provide additional services and resources to people with the goal, again, of that independence, of staying at home. And a lot of times people aren't really sure where to start. It can be a difficult system to navigate, especially if somebody is feeling like, I don't know what I need, but I need something, or I'm helping to provide care for my loved one. There's got to be something out there that can help us, but what is that? A lot of times that people don't know. They're at square one. And that's where I say, give Area Agency a call, because then we can have some conversation. We can actually have that dialogue of, what is going on, what is happening in your unique journey right now, that we can help you start to navigate through the different resources that we have to say, this is your situation, this is something that could be a benefit to you, or this is something you can add to your current situation to make things go even better for you. So while today's conversation is meant to be short and sweet, there's quite a bit of resources out there that we could expand on even further. But if there's any takeaway from today, I would want it to be that is give us a call so that we would be able to talk about that unique situation and then figure out, is an in-home care program the best option? Or are you looking for equipment, transportation, meals, all sorts of things that help people with that goal of independence?
Thank you, Stephanie. It's great to hear that overview of all of the resources that are available to our members, who are experiencing cancer, living with cancer, whether it's someone who's diagnosed themselves with any type of cancer or knows someone who's living with any type of cancer and in that caregiving role, or knows someone who has died, and our members are walking the grief journey because someone in their life has died from any cause of death. And so knowing that this resource is available and out there for our members to, like you said, just pick up the phone and give you a call to just kind of talk through the uniqueness of each situation to see what's available and how our community can work together to help meet the needs of our community. So Stephanie, how do you qualify for help from you?
Yeah, so as far as that information and assistance level goes, that is open to anybody and everybody. We get calls of all kinds, and that's what we want. We want to be that starting point to answer some questions or help navigate individuals through the different resources that are available. So really, even though we are the source for seniors, we get calls from younger individuals, older individuals. We get calls from people. Most of the time, it is the caregiver or somebody calling on behalf of somebody. That's how it kind of starts with us. So that general information services that we can provide, that's pretty open-ended. As far as our in-home care programs, I know I touched on that just briefly. We do have a couple of different options. We do have a program called My Choice Medicaid Waiver, which serves individuals who technically, based on how they're functioning, could qualify to reside at a nursing home, but they would rather have their services provided at home because that is the place that they would like to live long term. That one, as the title might suggest, is Medicaid funded. It's unfortunately not as easy as that. There's like 30 different types of Medicaid in Michigan. So part of our process too, when somebody's calling us and we're thinking they might qualify for one of our programs, is we're actually going to go through a screening over the phone to help determine, do you meet the criteria for each individual program we provide. Now, when I mentioned My Choice Medicaid Waiver, that's just one of the in-home care programs. We also have what's called care management, and we actually get in Kent County local tax dollars that help support that, as well as federal dollars. And each of those programs then have some different criteria. So the thing I would tell anybody, because I've especially doing outreach, I've met a number of people who have just kind of had a blanket thought of, I don't think I qualify for anything, or there's nothing out there for me. And that might not actually be true. So part of our role as doing that information and assistance and starting to identify, oh, you might actually qualify for a service we offer, is we're going to do a pre-screening over the phone to help determine that. And then that will help us be able to get that person moving forward with a program that we could offer directly. So I would always recommend a call because you never know what's available. And also, we work a lot with our partner agencies through the Kent County Senior Millage, where some might have asset limitations, some might be donation based. There's just a wide variety of things that are out there that are available to a lot of individuals. It's just sometimes people don't know what's out there, and that's why we want to make those connections.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's so helpful to work together as community partners here in West Michigan to be able to help connect some of these dots for all of us who are in the community and looking for additional resources. Stephanie, what help do you give people who are living with cancer, have a cancer diagnosis, or are grieving the death? So kind of honing in on our members here at Gilda's Club who are impacted by cancer, grief, and any specific resources that you'd like to share that would be available for our members.
Yes. Well, as we know, just through the journeys we've experienced through area agency as well as Gilda's Club, we know that a cancer journey and grief journey really, they can impact a lot of people and affect different areas of life, all areas of life, but how that looks, it's everybody has their unique story and how they're experiencing it.
Mm,
So, in thinking of the cancer and grief journeys and how our services relate, there may be some individuals where they might be in a situation where care needs are impacted and they now would benefit from one of the in home care programs that we provide, whether they've had their own physical changes that have just made it more difficult to do some of their day to day tasks like housekeeping or bathing or even just getting around to appointments. We do get a
mhm,
lot of calls from individuals that this was going okay for them before, but now they're in a situation where they need more assistance with that.
mm,
And sometimes that cancer diagnosis does impact their need for assistance. I mentioned earlier too that we do get a lot of calls from caregivers. It's a lot of times the adult children or an adult relative who is involved with somebody who might be supporting them on a cancer journey, or they might be experiencing a grief journey now, and they are trying to adjust to that new normal of what that means for them. So if
mhm,
they're in that situation as a caregiver where they're going, I doing this caregiving because this is what you do when you love somebody, but it's demanding, it's stressful, it's hard on me and I need some supports for myself. We would
mhm,
offer our services like the Caregiver Resource Network that would help provide local information on what's available as far as caregiver supports go, as well as information on agencies that are connected with the Caregiver Resource Network. So that if somebody needed to reach out to an agency or they were just looking for information or even we're looking for articles or podcasts, things like that, that would help them through that caregiving journey, we have that available. Through the
mhm,
Caregiver Resource Network as well, we also offer what's called the Family Caregiver University. And I think a lot of times with that, we see individuals who might be experiencing a cancer journey or may have been impacted by grief that
mm,
are interested in these classes to understand more of what it is like to be a family caregiver.
mhm,
And these classes, especially, we have one a month and they really range on different topics, which I think has been very beneficial. It's ranged from being able to take care of yourself as a caregiver and understand what it's like to practice mindfulness and stress reduction in those areas of focus. We've also talked about different resources and options that are out there. We've talked about power of attorney and guardianships and advanced directives and what that means. So there's a lot of educational opportunities that we attempt to provide that would
mhm,
help individuals who are on that journey.
mhm,
And again, sometimes people just aren't sure what's out there. So that is where, when we get those initial calls and have that conversation, they might not have a personal care need, or they might not be in a caregiving journey where they need the caregiver supports, but they're still needing something. And hopefully, that conversation that we have is going to give out the resources in the community that are available. That really is what they're looking for at that point in time.
mhm. So really connecting people with the resources that are available to them and spending that time, whether it's over the phone or on your website, to really do a deeper dive into the uniqueness of the situation, like what you were saying, for our members, whether they're on a cancer or a grief journey, to really have additional options of support together in our community. Stephanie, as we think of this past year, curious your thoughts on how do you think COVID has impacted this particular population?
Well, COVID, of course, has impacted all of us on multiple levels, of course. I think for our senior population, it really has um, kind of shifted the way that a lot of services are delivered. services, in-home care, that has still been up and running this whole time. That is essential for people to be at home, but it really has made some people think, I'm not sure what this looks like as far as, do I want help in the home, or how do I want the
Mm,
help in my home? We do partner with a number of agencies that provide caregivers, but at the same time, we have found that a lot of people, especially with employment changes or people now not no longer working because they're home with children and maybe are more available in their schedule, there have been a number of situations where people have identified, hey, I need the help at home and I have a family member that's available and would be willing to help me. And we've been able
mm,
to come up with a paid caregiver situation
mm.
that has benefited both the individual who needs the services, who needs the help, as well as that individual who maybe was not employed elsewhere and is able to do that for their loved one. So that's been, it's always been a thing. I think we've seen more of that with COVID, and
Mhm,
just the comfort level people have.
mhm,
As an agency too, we try to think, what is changing for our population's lives that we had before that it's not the same now. And a big piece of that is socialization. And
mm,
so we have had a number of agencies that we partner with through the Kent County Senior Millage who started new services, including just a frequent check-in. We found that more people just weren't getting out as much. And for a while, there really was nowhere for a lot of people to go to socially. But that piece of connection, or even just having somebody call and say, hi, how are you doing today? Is everything okay? We didn't have that before. And so that is something that has been developed since COVID, um, just to help make sure that that social isolation piece is addressed. And we've
mhm.
worked with some of our participants too on a couple of different ideas that have happened since the pandemic started. One thing recently is we got just a small number of the animatronic pets, the cats and dogs that actually, they function like real life pets almost. But for some individuals, just having that as a comfort without the responsibilities of a real life pet at home has
Sure.
been such a nice thing for them. It's just been something that they've truly enjoyed. It has been an activity. It's given them a better sense of purpose, something more to do, where that maybe had shifted a little bit since the pandemic. So there's been a
Mhm.
few different things that we have tried to incorporate, knowing that COVID really has impacted a lot of our daily lives and the way that we were living them before. So,
Of
trying to be
course.
creative of what to do to address some of that.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for that overview. How are you providing your services currently?
Right now, pretty much everything that we are doing is over the phone, or if possible, we would offer like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. I think a lot of people are utilizing that if they have that at their fingertips. But as of this moment, our services are not being provided directly in person. So our assessments that we do with individuals, the classes that we do, everything is virtual at this point in time. I mentioned we have our care program. So the services that we coordinate as far again as that, housekeeping, personal care, transportation, home delivered meals, all those services go. Those are still being delivered by our service partners, but then the work that we actually are doing of our supports coordination and any follow-up calls that we're making, or our intake process, everything is over the phone, which
Mhm.
has been going well right now. We're still able to do everything. We're taking new referrals for programs. We're offering, classes, hopefully at times that are convenient for people, especially when they're online. So we've been really up and running just in the virtual setting.
Thank you, Stephanie. Sounds like really the best way to connect for anyone who's listening today, who finds that this could really be of benefit to connect and learn more about resources for their specific situation would be to give you a call.
Mhm.
That's
Yes,
great.
I would always want people to just, if they're listening to anything and they're going, I'm not sure, but maybe it's worth the ask. I would say it's worth the ask.
Mhm.
And I believe our website is shared, but I'll provide our phone number too, because that's the one I keep referencing. So our main number is 616 456 5664. And with that, somebody answers. So you don't have to know exactly why you're calling, because you're not going to press 1, press 2, press 3. You're going to talk to somebody. And as we have that conversation, we'll help guide what next steps might be.
Well, Stephanie, this was incredibly informative and love this opportunity to connect as community partners here in West Michigan in providing and supporting the needs of our community. And so great to hear a deeper dive from you on all the wonderful work that continues with Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan. So glad to have this resource in our community for our members who are on a cancer and a grief journey to stay connected and stay resourced. We just so appreciate you and for your sharing your resources with us. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like our members to be aware of today?
I don't have any more because you've already heard me plug our phone number, but I do want to say thank you too for the opportunity. And just know that if there's ever a time where somebody is feeling like they might need some extra assistance, even if they're not sure they're ready to commit to it, but they still want to start that conversation, I would absolutely reach out at that point in time.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing with us today, for your time and your expertise. And thank you to everyone here who has joined us on our Facebook Live platform. We are so grateful to you. We're so grateful that you were able to join us today and learn a little bit more and to stay connected socially, emotionally on the cancer and the grief journey. And for this educational session so we could really learn more together about some of these great resources here in our community. And we hope that you were able to learn something as well. Please feel free to reach out to Gilda's Club Grand Rapids at any point in your cancer or grief journey, or if you know someone who's experienced cancer or living with grief. We are more than happy to connect. And like we've been saying today in our conversation, that thread of helping to connect the dots and letting people know in our community of some of these really great resources that are available to stay connected and have that psychosocial support along the way on the cancer and the grief journey. So thank you all so much for joining us. We would love to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.